Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and brought to you with emotion, passion, honesty, new location, and of course, my comments. I am your host, Bronco Bill. All right, as you can tell, the background is totally different because I'm actually at my brother-in-law's house south of me about 27, 30 miles. Any case, so if you hear dogs barking or chimes going off or whatever, Christmas tree, actually it's on this side, Christmas tree in the background, all that, I'm house sitting for the weekend. So any case, I'm here. And we're going to have a good show, guys. I want you to engage in it like you did last time. It was fantastic. A lot of great different topics, and the Broncos are on a roll. And let's start with that right now. All right, before we do that, Avatar says, what's up, Broncos country and 2023 NBA champs, Nuggets Nation? Absolutely. Avatar, always great having you in the house. Always great having you in the driver's seat, so to speak. Batting leadoff. Thanks so much for being in the chat. Appreciate it. All right. Broncos are on a 6 out of 7 game winning streak. Yes, they had a setback in Houston, but hey, they made up for it last week. Let me dive into the very first topic. Here we go. With the win against the Chargers in 6 out of their last 7, the Broncos are ranked number 7 in the power rankings. The rest of the AFC West is ranked as follows. Chiefs, where do you think they are? Above the Broncos? Higher up? Nope. The Chiefs are number 9. Chargers, 28. Maybe not after last night. Maybe not. But they're ranked before the show. And, of course, this is when I got this before the game last night. Chargers were ranked 28th. Raiders, 29th. The top 10 are as follows. San Francisco, Dallas, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Miami, Denver, Cleveland, Kansas City, and Houston. This is the first time, this is the first time that Denver has been ranked higher than the Chiefs since Peyton Manning in 2015. Absolutely. 2015 was a magical year. And, of course, the Broncos are going to be looked at like whether or not they can achieve the same type of status as 2015. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, it's moving in that direction. It really is. Under Sean Payton, it's moving in that direction. So that's great news. Really, really good news that the Broncos are moving up. It's going to take some. We still got 4 games left, and I'll get into all of that, guys. I'll get into all of that. But the title of the show, and I know that it came after, only in the second topic. But the title of the show is, will Quinn Miners make it back from injury? It wasn't an injury that he had in the game against the Chargers. It was something, in my opinion, even more serious. All right, here it is. Quinn Miners was taken to the hospital late in the second quarter last Sunday with elevated heart rate. Now, that's never good, guys. That's never good because that could be, what do they call that? Defib or amphib, something like that, where your heart just like loses weird beats and just starts doing things differently. That's what happened to Quinn Miners. And in a way, that's kind of what happened to that Buffalo Bills player when he got hit in the chest, and it was an off beat, and it just stopped his heart. Well, Quinn Miners had an irregular heartbeat or elevated heart rate. Okay. He stayed the night last Sunday night. He stayed the night for precaution, but flew back to Denver last Monday. Sean Payton said, and I quote, Quinn Miners was back today, meaning Monday, and that's really the update of all we have, end quote. Okay. He being Sean Payton, he always keeps everything very, very close to the vest. He's not going to reveal everything because he doesn't want that out there, okay? Because maybe he doesn't know everything. Maybe he doesn't want to throw out certain things that are not 100% accurate. Okay. That's just the way he does things. And I appreciate that. Don't say things that may come back to haunt you. Okay. I continue. It is not sure if Miners, will be able to practice or play against the Lions this coming Saturday night, tomorrow night. That is huge, guys. That's huge because Quinn Miners is a very, very intricate part to the Broncos offensive line. And if he cannot go against the Lions in Detroit tomorrow night, that does not spell well. Now, sure, the backup came in and did what's his name? Wattenberg, I think it was. He came in and did a decent job. But when Sean Payton was asked about Quinn Miners being out, and if Wattenberg, was adequate enough to play, he says, we're really looking to have Quinn Miners back. Well, that just tells you that Sean Payton, doesn't really have confidence in Miners' backup. But it's all about Quinn Miners' health. It's not about whether or not, they should thrust him in there under, possibly, they don't want to put him in there if the situation is going to get worse or could get worse. Well, he was released last Monday morning, I should say, by the Los Angeles hospital that he went to, and they deemed him well enough to go home. Does that mean he's well enough to play? I don't know. It's a very stressful game in the NFL, especially, the interior line. And you're trying to block these 300-pound guys, 300-plus pound guys, away from getting to your quarterback. And that takes a lot of strength, and that takes a lot of energy, and it takes heart rate. And I don't know. That's all I've gotten, guys. I don't know any more update. I've tried to do my research. I've done my research, I should say. I've tried to get information from the sources. I haven't gotten it. I don't know if Quinn Miners is going to be able to go tomorrow night. We'll find out, obviously, at game time. But if not, well, it's going to be Wattenberg, and we just have to roll with that. Excuse me, guys. Avatar says, my dad had that and had to get a pacemaker because of it. I believe it. My mother-in-law has a pacemaker for the very same thing. And it regulates the heart rate, keeps it beating the way it's supposed to. The whole rate goes boom, 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 up high and then down low and then up high and down low. That's the rhythm it's supposed to have. But when it goes up, up, and then maybe down, down, up, and then erratic, I mean, that's never good. That's never good. It weakens the heart. And with these guys playing with this intense pressure and strength that they have to have and all that, I just hope and wish and pray for the best for Quinn Miners. I mean, that's just what you got to do. You got to put his health first. And I know the Broncos country, as well as myself, I want the Broncos to win Saturday. I absolutely want them to win tomorrow. But not at the expense of something catastrophic happening to Miners on the field. I don't want to see that again. We saw that with Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills. I don't want to see that again. And if it means that the Broncos have to put in a backup, so be it. You got to roll with the guys you have. And that's the bottom line. Quinn Miners' health is first and foremost. All right. Courtland Sutton. Oh, my gosh. Is this guy amazing? This guy's absolutely amazing. That guy can catch anything. But that's not where I'm going with this. Listen to this. In the game between the Broncos and the Chargers, Courtland Sutton became the Broncos' first wide receiver to catch 10 or more touchdowns in a season since Julius Thomas and the late Demaryius Thomas. And that happened in 2014 with Peyton Manning as a quarterback. The Broncos' first wide receiver since 2014, 9 years, Courtland Sutton, 10 or more touchdowns in a season. There's 4 games left, guys, so he could eclipse 10 easily since Julius Thomas and the late Demaryius Thomas in 2014. Sutton's 10th TD catch came on the very date. This is ironic. came on the very date of the anniversary of Demaryius Thomas's untimely passing. Wow. Wow. That to me was when I read that and saw that, I thought, oh my gosh, Demaryius Thomas is shining down on Courtland Sutton and say, come on, buddy, you can do it. Do it for me. Do it for yourself. Do it for the Broncos. That is absolutely amazing. Amazing that it happened on the very date, not the actual year, of course, but the very date of the untimely passing of Demaryius Thomas. Wow. Wow. You know, it's just, I still can't get over the fact that DT's gone. I really can't. I can't get over the fact that he is gone. But you know what? Time moves on and life moves on. And we just cannot forget the impact that Demaryius Thomas had on the Broncos country, had on Denver, had on Colorado, had on the Broncos players. And obviously, Courtland Sutton makes that one-handed catch with his arm being pulled back, catches it with this hand one-handed for his 10th touchdown on the very date, I should say, that the late Demaryius Thomas passed away. Wow. That's absolutely uncanny, remarkable. Going back to Quinn Miners, Avatar says, according to the Denver Post, Quinn Miners expects to play tomorrow. Well, that's good. That's good. That means that he's been deemed eligible to play by the doctors and all that, which is fantastic. Fantastic, because Quinn Miners is very, very instrumental on that right side of the Broncos offensive line, and we're going to need help against Detroit, guys. We're really going to need help against Detroit. Everybody's fighting for playoff spots at this point in time, and I mean, Detroit has a division right now, but Minnesota's on their tail. And I know there's only 4 games left in the season, but anything can happen. Just look at these past games of last week. You know, it's just anything can happen. How about the game last night before I move on? How about the game last night? So the Raiders couldn't beat the Vikings, couldn't score a single point against the Vikings. It went late into the fourth quarter when Minnesota kicked the field goal to win the game 3-0. And then they play the Chargers, who scored 7 points against Denver, but only lost 24-7. And they get their doors kicked in 63-21. Man, I was hoping the Raiders would get 70 and hold the Chargers under 20. That would have been fantastic to take the Denver, worst score, worst differential of the season and hand it to the Chargers. Nope. Raiders didn't help the Broncos in that situation, but they did help them from the standpoint of putting the Chargers in last place. Oh, by the way, they fired their head coach Staley today and their general manager in Telesco. Both of those are gone as of late this afternoon, and no word has been that I've heard of as to who the interim head coach is going to be. But I thought for sure that that they would have kept at least to the end of the year. I mean, what's the point? What's the point? So it's 3 games left. So, I mean, what's the interim head coach going to come in there and do anything different? Probably not. But, I mean, who knows? I don't know. It's just uncanny, man. Just uncanny that you'd fire a guy with, oh, wait a minute. Didn't that happen to Hackett? Sure it did. Of course it did. But, this is this isn't good from the standpoint that I don't want the Chargers to get a good head coach. I really don't want them to get a good head coach because I don't want them to be good at all. Just like I don't want the Raiders to have a good head coach. I mean, the Chiefs already do, but Chiefs are the Chiefs. I mean, they're kind of like the Tom Brady of the Patriots. Didn't matter really who was the head coach because Tom Brady basically orchestrated and ran that team just like Patrick Mahomes does. But anyways, I move on. All right. Yes, Avatar, I totally agree. DT went way too soon. Absolutely way, way, way too soon. Very, very sad. Very sad. Can you imagine if Demaryius Thomas was on this team? Can you imagine that? If Demaryius Thomas was on this team with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and KJ Hamler, I know that those two guys are injured, but can you imagine if he was on this team? Okay, let's just remove Jerry Jeudy for a moment. Put DT on one side and Cortland Sutton on the other. Who are you going to double team? You can't double team both, which means it would have been a plethora of touchdowns. Absolutely, no doubt about it in my mind. Man, so sad, so sad. But it's great to just think about what things could have been, but very, very sad. Yeah, happened way too soon. Way too soon. Avatar is going to scoop me and give me Gift Smith is the interim head coach. Who the heck is he? Gift Smith? Well, obviously he's on the team in some fashion or another. Maybe the offensive, I don't know, quarterback coach or somebody. But wow, never heard of the guy. Never heard of the guy. But any case, all right. Well, he's going to run with it for the last 3 games of the season. And yes, the Broncos do have to play the Chargers after they play the Detroit Lions and after they play the New England Patriots. So it'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow, or 2 weeks from Sunday, I should say, that the Broncos will be playing the Chargers in Denver. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they wanted to fire him because they're trying to just, win the last 3 games of the season. I don't know. It's not going to help them in the playoffs because they're 5-9. I mean, what are they going to do? Win 8 and go 8-9? And that ain't going to make the playoffs. So I have no idea why they would fire him now. That's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. But hey, whatever. It's all good. Avatar says it's the outside linebackers coach. Wow. Outside linebackers. So they're going with defensive side. Okay. Well, they got a lot of problems on offense and defense. But yeah, a lot of problems. Shout out to Corey is in the house. Corey, nice to have you in the chat. Thank you so much. Corey says join. Now, did you mean joined as a subscriber or joined as in chat? Either way, glad you joined. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It is absolutely free. Hit the like button as well. Thumbs up really helps the show tremendously. If both of them are free, both of them take a absolutely split second, a click, and it's done. All right. Russell Wilson, in the second half of the game against the Chargers last Sunday, Russell Wilson was 10 of 13, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a passer rating of 141.7. Exactly, guys, 141.7. Yes, everybody looks back and says, well, he threw that pass to Mims and he didn't catch it, and it was bounced off his shoulders or arms or whatever, and it was intercepted. But guess what? The Broncos shut down the Chargers on 4th down, and they didn't gain a single point, period. Denver took the ball, went down the field. Yes, Broncos won the game 24-7, but a passer rating of 141.7 in the second half, no interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and 10 of 13 for 112 yards. And people were writing Russell Wilson off when the Broncos were 1-5. Why? Why were they writing him off? Well, because they saw the same thing that they saw under Hackett. Well, I'll tell you what, Sean Payton is no Nathaniel Hackett. I've said that many, many times, and I'll continue to say it. Rome wasn't built in a day. Things are not built overnight, so to speak. And when you bring in a new head coach, although not new to the NFL, new to the Broncos and Sean Payton, it's going to take time. They brought back Vance Joseph. That defense was pathetic when it was 70-20. I thought for sure they're going to fire Vance Joseph. Nope. They turned it around because they figured out what they needed to do to get the players that they had to believe into the system, believe in the scheme, and fit the players around what they do best. It's exactly what they've done. And it is absolutely proven to be a fact that the Denver Broncos are a team to be reckoned with going down the last 4 games of the season. There's no doubt in my mind that the Broncos have a very legitimate chance to make the playoffs. Absolutely. Now, Sean Payton said he's not just focusing on making a wild card. He wants to win the division. Well, it's not in the Broncos' hands to do that. The Chiefs have to do certain things as well as, the Broncos have to do their part. I'll get into that in just a little bit. But speaking of the Chiefs, we now go to, that's right, guys, the jackass of the week. Oops. I thought I was clicking it off or clicking it to stop. I completely spaced out. Anyways, oh well, I guess they deserve it twice because two people are really in the jackass of the week from the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, and that's right, their head coach, God, can never remember that guy's name. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I can't ever remember. But they absolutely went nuclear and nuts on, or I should say, against the referees for last week's game with the Buffalo Bills, Andy Reid. Thank you, Avatar. Andy Reid. I don't know why I can't remember that guy's name. Maybe because I don't like him. Anyways, so Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes went nuclear. Okay? The situation, in case you guys forgot, didn't pay attention, whatever. Tony, the wide receiver for the Chiefs, lined up with his foot about a third across the line of scrimmage, leaning into, or I should say, leaning across the line of scrimmage. And the play that was resulted in a touchdown, it was a pass to a pass to Travis Kelce. He caught it, flipped the ball back to Tony, who ran it around the left side and in for a touchdown that would have given the Kansas City Chiefs the lead and ultimately probably the win because there's only seconds left in the game. That was called back on the offsides because of Tony. All right? Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid lost their freaking mind. Let me get into it. Here it is. When the Kansas City Chiefs looked like they had just beaten the Buffalo Bills with a late touchdown, the play was called back by an offsides by Tony. The wide receiver after the game, hang on. Tony, the wide receiver. Okay, period. Sorry. After the game, Patrick Mahomes went after the ref and had to be held back by 4 of his teammates. They, the Chiefs, even asked the league office to apologize for the offsides. Really. However, the league responded by saying, and I quote, "We will not apologize for a correct call," end quote. Hey, Mahomes, we know that you get the NFL's love, but when you do things that are not right, you're not the beneficiary of a call that you want to go in your direction because you want to win. That's not how it works. You got to play the game the way the game's played and fair. Tony was offsides. Here's the line. His foot was this far, at least a third across the line, and his body is leaning over. You have to, it's an offsides. What do you want the referee to do? This, okay? First and foremost, Tony, as a wide receiver, they can look at the referee and say, hey, am I onside? Am I across? Am I back? And the referee will say, yes, you're across, or no, you're fine. Tony did one of these. He was lined up. He looked over like that, looked back. He didn't even get acknowledgement from the referee because he didn't even give the referee time enough or did even ask. If you watch the video, you could see him look over and look back. He never once got acknowledgement from the referee. So that's not on the referee's fault. That's not on the referee. That is on the wide receiver, Tony. He's the one that needs to be held accountable. Why Patrick Mahomes didn't go after his own player and say, you freaking idiot? Can't you see down the line? Can't you see that you're offsides? No, he goes after the referee and wants the NFL to apologize for a call that they got right. The Kansas City Chiefs are crybabies. They're absolutely crybabies. Big time crybabies. And you know what? I cannot I never have liked the Chiefs, ever. Ever, ever, ever. I've never liked them. And yes, Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback, but he's a crybaby. If he's supposed to be the poster child of the NFL because Tom Brady is retired, he's not doing a good job. Now, yes, Tom Brady did have his tantrums and he did have his meltdowns. But, you cannot fault the referee for doing his job. You can't. Yes, the referees have made horrific calls this year. They haven't called pass interference when there has been, or they've called a pass interference or they have not called it when there was. Yes, they've made mistakes. But when a referee's looking right down the line and sees that your foot is across that line, and you're trying to say, why did you call the play? And you're yelling at the referee and saying that he's an idiot and just yelling at him? No, I hope Patrick Mahomes is fined. I hope he's fined. He should be. If he's not, it's an absolute travesty by the NFL that they're letting him get away with yelling at the referee. You can't do that. That is not what the players are supposed to do. Yes, the referees make mistakes. So do players. But when you look at it, Patrick, look at your own players. Look at your own teammate. He is the one that caused the infraction, not the referee. The referee was only pointing it out. So, hey, Patrick, grab your pacifier, stick it in your freaking mouth, and go sit in the corner and pout, okay? All right? Just go do that. Prima donna, jackass. Yeah, jackass of the week for sure. All right. Spence G is in the house. Spence G, what's happening, my friend? It's Daddy Juice time. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, my friend. Yes, it is. Spence also follows it up by saying, hey, Bill, are you streaming the game tomorrow? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do the game because I have my grandkids, a combination birthday party. My granddaughter was born in November 9th. My grandson was born December 5th. They're combining their birthday parties, and it's happening, unfortunately, this Saturday. They always do it on Saturday because they know the Broncos play on Sunday. However, this year, Broncos got flexed into Saturday primetime night. Sorry about that, guys. I won't be able to be there. I'm going to do my best. Maybe we'll be back in time for the game. I'm not sure, but I just let Mudungus Creevy know that it looks like I'm obviously not going to be there at the start of the game. I'm hoping possibly to be there at the end of the first quarter. I don't know, guys. I'm very, very sorry. I apologize. But the holiday season and their birthdays, and I can't miss it. As much as I want to be here and much as I want to do the game, I got to put my grandkids ahead of that. And like I said, guys, I'm sorry. But that's just right now. It's very tentative, but it looks like it's either going to be late or not at all. We'll definitely let you guys know for sure. Michael post that up on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, I believe. All right. Spence says, I've got a 12-pack that's ready. Really, really needs consumption. I bet it does. Well, you might want to get a start on it anytime soon. So it's up to you, man. Anytime soon. It's totally up to you. All right. Okay. You guys ready? Because the Chiefs lost to the Bills last week and the Broncos beat the Chargers, guess what? That's right. The Denver Broncos are just one game out of first place in the AFC West. Can you believe that? The Broncos started the season 1-5. 1-5. They're now 7-6. They've won 6 out of their last 7, like I stated earlier, and they're one game behind the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, yes, one game in the loss column and the win column, of course. One game in that respect, but they're actually 2 games back because the Chiefs hold the tiebreaker. Here we go. With the Kansas City loss to the Bills and Denver's win over the Chargers, the Denver Broncos are just one game behind Kansas City for the division lead. Kansas City will have to lose 2, like I mentioned, because they have the tiebreaker. Kansas City will have to lose 2 of the last 4, and Denver will have to win 3 of their last 4 for that to happen because Kansas City holds the tiebreaker. Can the Broncos do it? I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket and saying the Broncos have to win the division to make the playoffs. No, they don't. They just have to win. They have to just make the wild card. There's 3 wild card spots, 1 division title. Which one's easier, guys? Basic math. 3 is easier than 1. And I say, let's shoot for the wild card and let's hope for the division. Okay? You cannot shoot for the moon and come up short. You can't. You've got to take step by step by step. The Broncos have to at least solidify themselves as a wild card team and then hope and continue to win the last 4 games. They got a tough one that's coming Saturday against Detroit. Then they play the New England Patriots with a backup quarterback. Then they play the Chargers with a backup quarterback because the Broncos broke Herbert's index figure last week. He's out for the season. And then the Broncos play the Raiders with a backup quarterback. Oh, Connell. Yeah, that guy who put up 63 points against the Chargers yesterday. So is it going to be an easy road? No, NFL's never an easy road, guys. Any given Sunday. Just look at last week. Raiders couldn't score, like I mentioned earlier. Couldn't score a single point against the Vikings. And then they put up 63 against the Chargers. Now, yes, granted, the Vikings defense and team is much better than the Chargers, but still, 63 points? Yeah. Oh, by the way, do you realize this is the first time in NFL history that 2 teams, especially 2 teams from the same division, have put up 60 points or more on another team? And I take it back. I tell you, never mind. Oh, I hit the microphone. Sorry, guys. I take it back. Miami's not in the AFC West. I take it back. Miami put up 70. The Raiders put up 63. First time in NFL history where 2 teams in the same season put up 60 points or more. And both teams, or both games, I should say, that final score had never happened before in the NFL. 70-20 had never happened before Miami and Denver played, and 63-21 had never happened until last night. First time ever in the history of the NFL that has happened. That's pretty ironic. Unfortunately, Denver was on the losing end of one of them, but hey, that's just the way it goes, man. That's just the way it goes. Hey, my friend, my nephew, Bobby, Robert Marino, I call him Bobby, says, are you going to watch the Vikings game in the morning since you have a party in the afternoon? Yes, I will be watching the Vikings game. I want the Vikings to win. Absolutely. That's my favorite NFC team, as everybody well knows. And I definitely want the Vikings to win. I'm going to have to most likely record the Broncos game. I still don't know whether or not I'll be back in time to, do the show, whether Madungus Creevy wants to do his part for the first quarter. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely will be watching the Vikings game. I don't have to work tomorrow at the golf course because it's a junior PGA tournament, and they don't require a starter for that. So I won't be working tomorrow. So I'll be able to watch the game when it starts at 10 o'clock. So that'll be awesome. Anyways, let's see. Bobby says, Bronco Bill making my Friday by having a show. Thanks a lot, Bobby. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody in the chat's making my Friday as well, just by being here and watching and supporting and commenting. Absolutely love it, guys. Absolutely love it, like always. All right. Josie Jewell. Okay. Now remember, about a month ago, Josie Jewell was fined by the NFL for doing this after his sack. Like he's shooting guns out. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? All right? NFL says no. Nope. You cannot do that because we don't tolerate or condone anybody that acts like they're shooting at somebody else. Wait a minute. He's going like this, up in the air. He's not shooting at anybody else. Why is that wrong? Oh, because you don't want to demonstrate that you're shooting something. Okay, I get it. Wait a minute. Hang on, guys. Here it is. Last month, The NFL fined Josie Jewell $13,659. I don't know where they come up with these numbers. Well, they just randomly draw numbers out of a hat and go, oh, that looks like a good number. I think we'll fine him $13,659. Why not round it up and say 14,000 or 13,700? I mean, just weird. 659? Yeah, okay. Anyway, last month, the NFL fined Josie Jewell $13,659 for celebrating a sack with, quote, finger guns. Okay. After appealing, Jewell's fine was rescinded. In other words, they're not going to fine him $13,659. They're not going to fine him anything. It was rescinded in part because Josie Jewell's finger guns are never pointed at anyone. Okay, that's the way it should be. He's shooting up like this. Like I mentioned when this happened, people point up like this. People do all kinds of things, and they don't get fined. Okay, I continue. Josie Jewell said, and I quote, "The fine got taken away, so I'm like, okay, so we should be good now," end quote. The Outlaw, as he is nicknamed by his teammates, the Outlaw is back, and he's bringing his finger guns, period. Got that right. As long as he does it like this in the air, in the sky, what's wrong with that? He's called by his teammates as the Outlaw because of the way he plays, the way he does things. Okay? Why would he be getting fined for doing something? I mean, I've seen people do worse things, where they go like this, like shoot air, whatever they're doing. I mean, it's a celebration of their accomplishment on that particular play or whatever. But guys do things like that all the time. And if it's not directed or pointed at anybody, it's not a taunting. It's not like he went up to Herbert after a sack and went boom, 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 like that at him. That wasn't it. No, he's doing it up in the sky like, yeah, whatever. Okay? Why would that be wrong? Well, obviously, he appealed it. It was rescinded. He's not getting fined. And apparently, he can continue to do it as long as he's not pointing it or doing it towards any person or players or sideline or referees or anybody. If he does it towards the sky, all well and good. I totally agree. I don't see anything wrong with it. Okay? I mean, guys celebrate different ways. We've seen it. We've seen crazier things. I know. I mean, look at what was that? Who was that guy that grabbed the microphone, or not microphone, but the camera from one of the cameramen in the end zone, and he starts, looking at it and filming everything. I mean, he got fined. You can't do that. You're taking somebody else's equipment and taking their livelihood, their way of making a living, and you're turning it into your own little, 15 seconds of fame or whatever. You can't do that. Josie Jewell didn't do anything like that. He didn't use any object or anything. No, he is simply demonstrating his emotions in that particular fashion, not directed towards any person or persons. Okay? So I totally agree. Absolutely, totally agree. I am glad he's not fined. I am. But yet again, Kareem Jackson's fined for hitting somebody hard. Okay? I mean, I don't know. The NFL sometimes, in the way they do things, just frustrates me. Totally frustrates me. Can you imagine, like I mentioned before, can you imagine Steve Atwater now in the NFL? The way he used to hit and the way he hit constantly? Or Romanowski? Or, what's his name? I said Atwater. Dennis Smith? I mean, my gosh, go back to Super Bowl 32 and the way Steve Atwater hit his own player and the player for the Packers. That would have been a 15-yard penalty, today. Yeah, I'm glad Josie Jewell is not fined. I'm glad it's okay to do what Josie Jewell does. All right. As it stands now, this is interesting. As it stands now, CBS Sports has come out with their prediction of the 2023 NFL playoff scenarios. Here it is. They are in the AFC the following. Baltimore would have a bye. As it stands now, guys, as it stands now, 4 games to go. Baltimore would have a bye. Cleveland would be at Jacksonville. Buffalo at Kansas City. Yep. A rematch of last year and a rematch of last week. Buffalo at Kansas City. Denver at Miami. Would that be a revenge game for Denver? I sure the heck hope so. But like I said, there's 4 weeks to go. But this is interesting because of the what if. What if Denver and Miami play again? Would it be 70-20 again? No. Not in my mind, not my opinion, not my thought. No freaking way. Would Denver win that game? I don't know. I mean, Miami's a tough team, but Denver's a lot different than they were in the first 6 weeks of the season. First 6 weeks of the season, they're 1-5. The last 7 games, they're 6-1. Not the same team. Not the same team, but that is interesting thought. Okay. After that, so that's the AFC. The NFC is listed as follows. San Francisco will be on a bye as it stands now. Dallas at Tampa Bay. Minnesota at Detroit for the 3rd time. Remember, Minnesota and Detroit play twice a year. Then they would play in the playoffs. Playoffs. Yeah, in the playoffs. Minnesota at Detroit. That'd be a tough game. And Green Bay at Philadelphia. So now that I brought those scenarios up, let me ask you guys in the chat. Let me throw this out there. Who wins between Cleveland and Jacksonville? These are all hypothetical because we got 4 games left. I'm just throwing this out there. What your guys' opinion? Who would win? Cleveland at Jacksonville. Okay. How about Buffalo at Kansas City? Denver at Miami. Okay. I say Cleveland, Jacksonville. I say Cleveland wins that game. Jacksonville's good. They're at home. I would say Cleveland wins that game because of their defense. Buffalo at Kansas City. Wow. I think Kansas City, although, like I said, 4 games left, but I think Kansas City would be pissed off at the fact that they lost to Buffalo last Sunday. And I think that would stick into their craw, so to speak. And I think that they would come out with a little bit of revenge and wanting to take it to the Buffalo Bills. So I would say Kansas City would win that game. Denver at Miami. Which Denver team are we going to see? Denver team in the first 6 games of the season? Or the Denver team in the last 7 games of the season? I say Denver wins that game because Denver will not let what happened in the first, against Miami earlier in the season happen again. Okay. How about the NFC? Dallas at Tampa Bay. Well, I say Dallas wins that one. Tampa Bay hasn't looked that good lately. Again, I know, guys, hypothetical, but we're just rolling with this. I say Dallas would win it. Minnesota, Detroit. I don't know. Which Minnesota team are we going to see? Are we going to see the Minnesota team that played the Raiders last week? Or are we going to see the Minnesota team with Dobbs that just came out and rolled like a steamroller when he came in the game? And they ran off 5 straight. Well, albeit 3 of them were with Cousins, but still. Are we going to see that Vikings team? Are we going to see the Detroit team that just seemed to steamroll out of the gate and then, pitter-patter and stumble out the last several games? I don't know. But I would say Minnesota wins that game. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I want the Vikings to win, so I got to go for them. So I say Minnesota wins that game. Green Bay at Philadelphia. Yeah, right. Green Bay has no chance in the world against Philadelphia. Although Philadelphia has stumbled lately. They don't look like barn burners like they did when they came out undefeated, earlier in the season. So, on any given Sunday/Saturday, any team can win. I just thought that was interesting that CBS threw out those scenarios. Who knows? Could be a whole lot different in the next 4 weeks. Maybe some of those teams won't even be in the playoffs. Hopefully Denver is, but I just thought that was interesting to throw out there. Really, really interesting. Okay. Corey H says, I live in Detroit area, but I'm a Broncos fan. Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Thanks. So I think I know who you're going for tomorrow. The Lions have two flaws. First, they have no secondary. So that's up to Russell Wilson. And second, Goff cannot handle any pressure. That's our only hope. I would agree. Denver's defense is solid. In these past 7 games. And, even though they had many, many mistakes, interceptions, turnovers, all that against Houston, they still had a chance to win it in the end because of their defense. So, yeah, I agree with you, Corey. Absolutely agree with you. Thank you so much for being a Broncos fan in Detroit. I hope you don't get too much heat tomorrow from maybe family members or, people that and that kind of thing. Corey also follows up by saying the Lions can run the ball and they have a good run defense. So that is where we have issues. They can run the ball. Yes, Denver's been very solid against the run. But if they have a good run defense, it's going to be up to Sean Payton to orchestrate a game plan to where they can either open up lanes for Williams or Pirine and get some some gaps where they can make some serious yardage gained. Or Russell Wilson's going to have to do what the defense gives him. If it's check down passes, so be it. If it's screen passes, if it's draw plays, if it's play action pass, whatever it is, the Broncos are going to have to take what the Lions give them. It's not going to be an easy game tomorrow, guys. I'm not saying it is. I've never said it is. In fact, I even said that should the Broncos lose tomorrow, they have to win the last 3 to be 10-7. Hopefully they win tomorrow, and then they can go on a run and hopefully make it 11-6 and guarantee a playoff spot. But I'm not holding my breath that they win tomorrow. I'm not. I sure the heck hope they do. Absolutely hope they do. I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket because I don't know what Broncos team and what Lions team is going to show up. I don't know that. I mean, come on, guys. I never thought the Broncos would beat the Chiefs or the Browns or the Vikings. I never did. Or the Buffalo Bills. I never thought the Broncos would beat those 4 teams. I never did. Now, earlier in the season when I did my seasonal prediction, I said we beat the Vikings. But as the season was going on and the Broncos were 1-5, I didn't think we'd win another game. And you guys can go back and watch those shows I did. I was absolutely adamant that I did not know if the Broncos could win another game because of the way they were playing. Now it's different. Now it's totally different. But again, when you're playing a tough team, I have to have reservations because I don't know what Lions team we're going to see and what Broncos team we're going to see. Are we going to see a Broncos team that melted down in Houston? When we absolutely had that game, we could have easily won that game without the turnovers and the stupid penalty by Singleton, and then just penalty after penalty. We had a chance to win it in the end and didn't. That's what my concern is. Is it going to be the Broncos team that went on a 5-game win streak and then came back and won again last week against the Chargers? Or is it going to be the Broncos team that played against the Houston Texans in Houston? This game is not in Denver, guys. This game is in Detroit. It's in a dome. It's going to be loud. It's on a Saturday. It's going to be different than they're used to. Yes, it's not even an afternoon game. It's an evening game. So everything's different. It's a Saturday evening. It's prime time. It's in Detroit. It's in a dome. What Broncos team is going to show up? We will find out tomorrow between the hours of 5:15 Pacific time and probably 8:30 when the game's over. We will then know which Broncos team showed up. All right, here we go. Speaking of the last 4 games, here it is. Excuse me, guys. The Detroit. The Denver Broncos will have no excuse if they don't win 3 of their last 4 games. Those games will have the last 3 with they will be opposing backup quarterbacks. The Patriots with Bailey Zappi, Chargers with Easton Stick, and Raiders with Aiden O'Connell. The only starter they will face will be Jared Goff in Detroit. like I said, guys, the Broncos have the chance to make it to the playoffs as a wild card. Maybe it's a division, but that's all up to Kansas City to do their part and lose 2 out of 4. The Broncos, if they don't win 3 of their last 4 games with 3 backup quarterbacks. Yes, I know O'Connell put up a show last night against the Chargers, and just looked all world, but it's the Chargers. I mean, did you watch the game, anybody out there? The Chargers gave up on their head coach, and he was fired today along with their general manager, Telesco, because the players gave up. You could see it. They absolutely gave up on their head coach. Is it shocking that the Raiders put up 63? Yeah, to a degree, because they had a backup quarterback. But you're playing the Chargers. Really? Seriously. Anyways, if the Broncos don't win 3 of their last 4, they have nobody to blame but themselves. Nobody. They can't look at it and go, wow, well, we faced these great quarterbacks. We faced Tom Brady, Patriots. I'm just throwing out there. We faced Tom Brady, and then we faced Dan Fouts, and then we faced Kenny Stabler. No, they're not facing those guys on those teams. They're facing backups. Those guys are long retired. I just threw out those names because I'm just making a point that they're not playing superstar quarterbacks. They're playing NFL quarterbacks. Yes, they are NFL caliber quarterbacks, even though they're backup. But they're not playing the starters. They're not playing the starting quarterbacks. They're not playing a Herbert, or they're not playing Patriots, whoever their starter is. They're not playing them. They're playing backups. And if the Broncos don't win 3 out of the last 4, they have nobody to blame but themselves. Nobody. If they lose to Detroit, okay. I'm not saying it's okay to lose. No, I don't want that. But they're playing Jared Goff, and he's a starting quarterback for the Lions, and the Lions are a legitimate team. They're in first place in the NFC North. Okay, they're a legitimate team. But they're beatable, and the Broncos can beat them. But they have to play their A game on the offense, defense, and special teams. Can't make stupid mistakes like they did against Houston. They will have no excuse against the Patriots, against the Chargers, and against the Raiders. No excuse whatsoever. All right. Here's a possible rule change. Okay. And this is a rule change that I am totally 100% in favor of. Here it is. The NFL is going to take a look at the rule where fumbling out of the end zone results in a touchback. Now, this is because it was pointed out that, I forget who it was a Vikings player, and he crossed the line, he crossed the goal line with the ball in his hand, and then the ball came out of his hand as he was crossing the line, and it was fumbled out of the end zone. Okay, the officials called it a touchback. The ball was turned over to the other team. Why? Why was it turned? Well, he didn't maintain possession. Hold on a second, guys. Hold on. When a quarterback leaps over the line of scrimmage, reaches the ball out, it crosses the line of scrimmage. Okay, crosses the goal line, I should say, crosses the goal line, and the ball is, knocked out of his hands, or he drops it. What happens? Touchdown. Why? Because it was in possession as he crossed over that line of, the end zone. Well, that's what happened in the Vikings. When he went across the line, then the ball came out. Why isn't that a touchdown? It's exactly the same thing. That's why the NFL is looking at this. It should not be a touchback. It should be a touchdown, because the rule states once all you have to do is break the plane. You don't have to come down with the ball and hit the ground and whatnot. It breaks the plane. Just like when a quarterback jumps over the line, puts the ball over, it's breaking the plane. That's all it has to do. Why would it be a touchback? It shouldn't be. Absolutely should not be. So that's the bottom line, guys. That's what I hope they do change it. Here it is. Looks like they could possibly make a change. They will take a deeper look into it this offseason. Well, they should. They should. How in heaven's name is it a touchdown when the quarterback does it, but when a receiver and he's fallen to the ground, hasn't hit the ground yet, and he reaches across that proverbial line, that barrier, and breaks the plane, why is that not a touchdown, even though the ball comes out of his hands, just like it would if a quarterback jumped over the line and the ball comes out of his hands? It's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. And that's what bothers me. It bothers me. It's a double standard. It doesn't make sense. It's okay for one, but not okay for the other. I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. It makes zero sense to me. There's a couple other things that don't make sense to me, but I'm not going to get into that because I don't need to get into that. But there are several things that don't make sense to me because they're just like controversial. One's okay, the other one's not okay. Exactly the same thing. All right. BP is in the chat. BP's in the house. Thanks so much for joining the show. Appreciate it. He says better double team Hutch. Yeah, I would agree. You've got to pick your poison. You got to double team somebody, and you've got to make or take out. I should say you got to take out the top receivers. You have to, and if it means double teaming and leaving somebody else on an island, so be it. You got to do what you got to do. One thing I don't have it here in my notes, but I do have to point out that PJ Locke may not. I'm looking to see if I have it in my notes, but I don't. PJ Locke is questionable. He's a Broncos safety along with Simmons. Simmons is okay. PJ Locke is questionable for the game tomorrow. We have to have PJ Locke. We have to. If we don't have PJ Locke, I don't like who we have behind him. PJ Locke has been a shutdown safety ever since he took over for Kareem Jackson and Jackson's suspension. PJ Locke has been fantastic. I hope he can play. He's injured, but I hope he can play. We'll find out, come game time tomorrow. But man, if he cannot go, that is definitely not good. Not good. Because whoever comes in, they're going to be picking on him big time. And that could be Denver's downfall. It absolutely could be Denver's downfall. And I don't like that one bit. So PJ Locke, I hope you're well enough to go tomorrow. I really, really do hope you're well enough to go tomorrow. We need you, guy. We need you badly. Need you badly. All right, guys, hold on a second. Like I mentioned, I'm at my brother-in-law's. I'm watching their dogs. One of them has to go out. I'll be right back in a split second. All right. Come on. Go outside. Come on. Go potty. Come on. Go potty. Go. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Little, hey, when you never know what you're going to get on live TV / shows, whatever. All right. Next to the last topic, and here it is. All right. Speaking of playoffs and all of that, Denver is in a logjam. With 4 games left in the 2023 NFL season, the Broncos are in a logjam with 6 other teams. They are Cleveland 8-5, Steelers 7-6, Indy 7-6, Houston 7-6, Denver 7-6, Cincinnati 7-6, Buffalo 7-6. Denver owns the tiebreaker over Cincinnati and Buffalo and Cleveland, but Cleveland has won one more game. Okay, so as it stands right now, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Indy are the wild card teams right now. Houston is ahead of Denver because Denver lost to them. Boy, I hope that doesn't come back to bite us. I sure hope that doesn't come back to bite us. Then Denver, like I said, and then they hold the tiebreaker over Cincinnati and Buffalo. Denver can hold a playoff spot after week 15 if, and oh man, I hope this happens. Denver can hold a playoff spot, not be on the outside looking in, not on the bubble, no, but be in a playoff spot if one of 2 things happen. Denver wins against Detroit and Houston loses, or Broncos win and the Colts, Bills, and Browns all lose. Well, which one's easier, guys? I say it's easier for Houston to lose. That's only one team you need to have lose. Okay? But if Houston wins, then we got to have the Colts, the Bills, and the Browns all lose. Here's who those guys play. Buffalo plays Dallas. Dallas should win that one. Dallas should win that one. Chicago plays Cleveland. Chicago plays Cleveland. I don't see Chicago beating Cleveland. Then again, who knows? And Indy plays Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh's already in the playoffs. I mean, they're already holding the number 2 spot in the wild card. If they can beat Indy, Indy would drop to 7-7. Denver would go to 8-6 with a win. They would jump up. They would jump up into the playoffs. If Buffalo loses to Dallas, well, Buffalo's already behind us. But we're talking about, 3 teams that have to lose in that second scenario. Houston, I didn't see who Houston plays, but sorry guys, I didn't do the research on my fault. But if Pittsburgh beats Indy, Denver jumps up into that spot because Indy would fall to 7-7. Denver with the win over Detroit would go to 8-6. So that's all I'm concerned about. We don't really need all 3 of those teams to lose. I would love it if they did, but I just want Indy to lose to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh hasn't been all that great. I mean, they're 7-6 as well. So if they go to 7-7 and Denver goes to 8-6, I mean, I don't see why Denver wouldn't be in that spot. But it's coming down to cheering for other teams. We got to cheer for teams we may not even like because it would help out Denver. Okay? That's what we got to do. So Houston has to lose. We win. Houston loses. We're in the wild card. Or Denver wins, and Colts, Bills, and Browns all lose. Then Denver jumps up again. I say it's easier and more realistic to have Houston lose as opposed to all 3 of the other ones losing with the Broncos win. It's going to be a dogfight, guys, all the way down to the end. All the way down to the end. And it could very well come down to the very last game of the season where the Broncos play the Vegas Raiders in Vegas, last game of the season, to determine whether or not the Broncos make the playoffs or not. You don't think the Raiders would want, not revenge, you don't think the Raiders would want to be spoilers? Of course they would. Of course they would. But hopefully it doesn't come down to that. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that. But it very well could. Okay. Speaking of Detroit, speaking of the Broncos, this is the last topic for the show tonight. Guys, thanks again for being in the chat, for all your support. Really appreciate it. This is my take on the preview of the Denver Broncos at Detroit Lions tomorrow night, prime time on, is it NFL Network? I think it is. Okay. And it's 5:15 Pacific time, 8:15 Eastern time. Here it is. Sean Payton has his sights on winning the division, but certain things have to fall into place. Like I mentioned, first, Denver must win out their last 4 games. Detroit won't be easy, but if they can beat the Lions, the playoffs or perhaps the division would be in their reach. Okay? So first and foremost, Denver has to win tomorrow if they want to run the table and win 4 games and have an 11-6 record. That would absolutely guarantee them a wild card spot. I don't see Broncos going 11-6 and not making a wild card and maybe even the division. But certain things have to happen. Kansas City has to lose 2 games out of their last 4. The Broncos have to win 3 of their last 4, hopefully 4 of their last 4. It's not going to be easy in Detroit. Not at all. Like I mentioned earlier, it's on the road. It's on a Saturday. It's in prime time. It's unlike what the Broncos normally play. Broncos normally play in the afternoon on a Sunday, not on a Saturday, not late in the afternoon, not in a dome, and not in prime time. Okay? The Broncos going to be ready for that? I sure the heck hope so. Absolutely hope so. Is it going to take a perfect game by the Broncos? Maybe not. But it's not going to, you can't make the mistakes like they did against Houston and expect to win. There's no way. Absolutely no way. Denver's defense has been the reason why the Broncos are 7-6 and in the playoff hunt. It's not because of our offense. Our offense has done just enough to do what they have to do to win the game. The defense is the reason why the Broncos are where they are. The defense has gotten turnovers. The defense has gotten stops on fourth down. The defense has held the Broncos and put the Broncos offense in position to win games. The defense has done its part. Can the defense hold up against the Lions and their attack with Jared Goff and Hutch and others? And the run game that the Lions have? Can the Broncos crack the Lions defense? Can the Broncos do enough on offense to sustain drives, to move down the field, to get touchdowns and not field goals? Can the Broncos offense do that? Can the Broncos defense put pressure on Goff, force fumbles, force interceptions, force 3-and-outs? That is the key right there. That my 3 points on the Broncos winning this game is, I mentioned already, the Broncos have to sustain drives. They have to get touchdowns and not just field goals. They have to keep possession of the ball and use the clock to their advantage. Defense has to put pressure on Goff. They have to stop the run. They have to force 3-and-outs. They have to keep the Broncos offense in a position to win the game. That's number 2. Number 3, no freaking stupid mistakes. No penalties. No being baited in by a quarterback to get a personal foul, Singleton. None of that. No offsides. No illegal formation. None of that. Play the game the way it needs to be played. Okay? Do what the offense needs to take what the defense gives them. Okay? The Broncos can win this game, but they have to play like they have when they won 5 straight. They have to play like they did when they played the Chargers last Sunday. The Lions are not the Chargers. I understand that. But the Broncos have to do what the Broncos have to do to put themselves in a position to win this game. They win this game, guys, and no Sunday's easy, but it's easier. The last 3 games will be easier than the game tomorrow night against Detroit. Detroit could be the turning point, the pivotal game the Broncos have to win, or if they lose, that could put a setback. Hopefully not, but it would make it a little harder, or maybe even a lot harder, depending on what other teams do, to make the wild card. Tomorrow night's game, the Broncos have to treat it like it's their playoff lives. They have to treat it like it's a playoff game. No 2 ways about it. They have to. In my opinion, they will. Sean Payton has this team believing, and Vance Joseph has this defense believing. And if they continue to buy into what Sean Payton and Vance Joseph are teaching them and are putting them into the position to win the games, the Broncos should beat the Lions. It's not going to be easy. I'm saying Broncos win tomorrow. Broncos beat the Lions tomorrow, 21-17. 21-17 Denver over the Lions tomorrow. That's my prediction. That's what I'm thinking, guys. I have no idea. Like, I haven't been right on some of these, points-wise and stuff. I don't care what the score is. I'm just saying it's not going to be easy. It's going to be close. But I'm saying Denver will win the game 21-17 and put themselves at 8-6 and in prime spot to run the table and finish the season at 11-6. That's it, guys. That's all I have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you have not, please do so. Please hit the thumbs up, the like button. It helps the show out tremendously. It lets other people know that you guys like the show, you support the show, and it's worth watching. I really, really do appreciate it. Guys, as you can tell, Christmas is right around the corner. A big Christmas tree over here. Well, right here. Big Christmas tree back here. My brother-in-law's house. And guys, I will be here next Friday, right before Christmas. But I do want to say to each and every one of you, in case you cannot be here next Friday, and you watch it after the show's been already aired, you can watch it on the podcast or the replay. Guys, if you're not here, please have a wonderful and safe Christmas. Have a wonderful Merry Christmas, guys. I really do enjoy each and every one of you being in the chat. It means so much to not only myself, but the network, and really, really do appreciate your support. Avatar, always thanks for batting leadoff, being in the chat, being in the house. Corey, thanks so much. From Detroit, Bronco fan in Detroit. Love to see that. Spence GC, thank you so much for being in the chat. My nephew, Robert Marino, thank you as well. Really do appreciate it. BP, thank you so much. Obviously appreciate every single one of you. Clayton Huron says, smash that like button and share. Absolutely share. Thank you so much, Clayton, for always supporting the show and the channel. Really do appreciate it. Yeah, Clayton always says, Denver Broncos for life, baby. Let's go. Absolutely. I totally agree. Let's see. Clayton always said, lights out defense, baby. Coaching. Yes. Couldn't agree with you more. Could not agree with you more, Clayton. You nailed it big time, like you always do. Guys, once again, thanks so much. If any of you missed any part of the show, please go back and watch it as soon as I'm done here. And and the show's off the air. You can go right back on YouTube and watch it. Just go into MHRT on YouTube, look for the show, click on it, and you will be able to watch it right from the very beginning. Guys, once again, thanks so much for your support. Thanks so much for being in the chat. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the weekend. Let's go Broncos. Let's beat the Lions. Let's make that solid move towards the playoffs, and let's get a W. Got it? Let's go, guys. Let's go Broncos. Everybody, thanks once again so much. We will talk to you next Friday. Till then, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Tempo's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame out. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute.